Today I'm talking to Margie Halem in Washington, D.C. Margie has been voted a top realtor by the readers of Bethesda Magazine since 2012. She runs a team doing $70 million a year with an average of 70 transactions. Most fun and compelling about Margie is that she says her secret sauce is simple. It's kindness. Today, we talk about how to apply the kindness that builds a powerhouse team.
Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast is to share knowledge for realtors and raise awareness for Give Back Homes, where real estate professionals work together for social good. Jet Centers Aviation, Bentley Atlanta, Legends Global, thank you for your sponsorship.
All right, everybody, it's the Jere Metcalf podcast where top real estate agents tell how they do it. Today, from Washington, D.C. and Compass, we have Margie Halem, a top agent in the company and in the city. We are so excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, getting started, talk to us a little bit about where your business is now and how you got into the business. Gotta give us the summary of your story.
Well, a summary of my story is I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. When I graduated from college in 1984, I had a sister selling real estate in Georgetown in DC. And she said, come to Washington and get your license. And so I did. And I've been selling real estate ever since. So I started in the district and then moved out towards Montgomery County, which is Maryland. And I'm licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So I sell in all three jurisdictions.
Wow, that's awesome. And so now, you got your real estate license how many years ago?
1984.
Wow.
So, long time.
1984. So back then you're a brand new agent.
I was 22 years old.
And
when I got
22 years old. So how did you get your first deal? Tell us about your first deal. Of course, don't worry everybody, we're gonna talk about the big deals and the big stuff she's doing, but it's always fun to hear how you got your first deal.
I remember the first deal I had was on Capitol Hill, 329 Constitution Avenue. And I got that from doing an open house. And actually that was a listing that I ended up getting. But I was doing an open house in Georgetown and I met people that had a house to sell, and that's how it all came about. So that was my first deal. And then just coincidentally, my very best friend of 34 years I met was a for sale by owner in Georgetown at the corner of 34th and R Street, and I called on the sign.
Really? Wow. Yeah. And now she's your best friend. That's what I love about this business. We get the friends we never have, and it's like a whole new level, and best friend of all things. So you've been voted as one of the top realtors of Bethesda Magazine from 2012 to 17. I want everybody to get familiar with your success. Tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about what your business looks like today.
So my business today, what happened is I was with another agent for, 16 years. And I was his right-hand person, buyer's agent, went on all the listing appointments because I pride myself on pricing and knowing where things should be priced. And about 10 years ago, I decided to go out on my own and create my own team. So that's really propelled me moving into this Bethesda location. I was in an upper Northwest DC office and going out on my own. I started by myself. I had another agent on my team who joined me, Amy Gordon, 10 years ago, and then just slowly built from there and realized that it's a business that you can't do alone. You have to have support, or it was important to me to be surrounded by people that all were positive in my life. And I have a wonderful, wonderful assistant, office coordinator who has just been by my side for the past 5 years, and my business has taken off as a result of that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So what kind of business, so you started out with your first listing from an open house, and now how big is your team? How's it structured, and how many deals are you guys doing? What's your average sales price? All that good stuff.
So there are 10 agents on my team, including myself. I'd say our average sales price is probably $1 million. I think we did 70 plus transactions last year. And we go anywhere, it's funny because people think, how do you do it if you're, are you too busy for me, or we'll get the call, or you can always hand me off to somebody else or refer me to somebody.
Yeah.
No, every person's home is important to me and everything they're going through. So whether it's a condo for $150,000 or a house for $3.5 million, I welcome to work with everybody.
I think
I haven't, pigeonholed myself into just one specific area. I consider myself just, I'm knowledgeable in all areas. I can sell a luxury home or I can sell, inexpensive townhouse.
So 70 transactions a year and a 10-person team. How many of those people are administrative? How many of those people are licensed agents doing licensed work? And what's everybody's role?
So I would say that we have one person that is Ashley, our angel, who is devoted to just running the operation. She is the person that orders the home inspections and the settlements and so forth. She does all processing. Here's the thing. I have it's not really a control freak type personality.
Isaac's laughing because I have that too. Anyway.
I do have a hand in everything. So for instance, yesterday, I know this is sort of going off topic.
Yeah, no, this is good.
We were staging a house and literally we were Windexing the windows and vacuuming. And I was there, right there, and so we do everything. So everybody is rolled together as we're all licensed agents, but it's, whatever we need to do, we're going to just jump in and do it. The reason it's really important to have an assistant is to take some of that off, of the team leader, so we can be out there working with our buyers and sellers. But I still think that component, I have to be involved in that. I need to see what's going on. I want to make sure that every accessory is displayed properly and that the bed the right way. It's really important. And I do trust everyone on my team. They all have a great eye and they've been around me long enough to know when something isn't going to work. But I still like to give it my final stamp of approval.
That's how it should be. You stay involved. You let them do their job, but you stay involved, stay engaged. And also, I think it keeps everybody's holding everybody accountable on the team.
Right. Yes.
So in such a competitive, wait, I'm not going to ask you that question yet because I want to finish the team. So you've got 10 people on the team, one person that's in charge of admin, and I say admin, it's operations, inspections, ordering, all the behind the desk, in the office work. And then there's you, and what do the other 8 do? Or what are their roles?
Well, so my son has been with me now for 5 years too. His name is Harrison Halem, and he's 29. He is my right-hand guy in terms of just being able to pick up the phone and say, Harrison, I'm in a meeting with somebody and somebody wants to see a house. So he'll just drop what he's doing and go and be available. Amy Gordon is the same way. I mean, she's in that role. I have another fellow on the team that is a developer and builder. So he's our go-to person if we're representing a builder to report him. So that's his specialty. And his son is actually on our team too, Justin.
It's a family business in every way. Wow.
And just Liz is our full-time DC Maryland agent who also has just a great eye, and she's a terrific, just really expert in the 16th Street Heights area of DC and Northwest. And so I use her a lot, when we're doing our DC properties.
Wow. So, but everybody on the team is an agent. Do you have a practice where the team, you take the listings and you have buyer's agents, or does everybody do the business they bring, or how does that work?
Everybody at this point I go on listing appointments with my agents if they want me to. Mm-hmm. I'm available for them. I'm available to help them negotiate. So I have an active role in what they're doing. I go look at their listings. I help with the writing and so forth before we send it off to our marketing people, and design of brochures, etc. Because I still need to step away a little bit from that.
I love that. Right.
But but they're all.
My team's going to listen to this interview so they know that I'm not the only one.
But they're all self-driven. So, yes, I am there to motivate, of course, and we go over what requirements are and what we need to be doing in terms of our note cards and our personal phone calls and engaging with our sphere and so forth. But it's really important to me to have people that are full-time agents. I recently joined Compass. I was with another company, and I had a different approach, which starting over and new and fresh with this company, I decided everybody needs to be full-time, and we're all in it to win this.
So tell us a little bit about that, just about the before and after. So now you've got a team full of everybody's full-time, fully committed on the team. And what was it? What did that look like before?
Well, before it was, I am a very, I love people, and I want to be everybody's best friend. I want them to be my best friend.
That's your strength and your weakness, yeah.
And I think it was more or less, I just wanted to surround myself with lovely people that were kind and good and nice. But and you can be all of that, but you also have to be motivated and aggressive somewhat. And I really have worked hard to create a business that breeds success. So that's where I want to keep going.
So what was the difference between, so you had part-time and you said there was a major shift in going from that part, did the part-timers become full-time and how was that decision made?
Yeah, I think.
And how does it look different?
Well, what looks different now is that everybody on the team is a full-time agent and has given me that commitment that this is what they're going to be doing. Yeah, it's okay to travel and take vacations and go to a soccer game. Of course, there's nothing more important to me than family first.
Exactly.
But I also think that you have to be committed. We're in a business where we work weekends, and I think everybody needs to understand that.
Yeah.
That Saturdays and Sundays are a big part of what we do, and evenings. Our buyers and sellers are working all day. They get 6 o'clock. They want to see you at 8 o'clock. They want to talk to you at 10 o'clock. The phone stays on.
Exactly. You're so right. I think a lot of people try to get around that, and maybe people are listening to disagree, but I find that the agents that really hit it big are the agents that understand, while not all of us want to talk on the phone at 10 o'clock every night, that understanding our clients' needs and living to what they need and delivering what they need, which is sometimes talking on the phone at 10 o'clock at night, being willing to do that. I love that. Focusing on I always talk about focusing on it. We've got to decide if who we are meets up to our client, but it's being willing to, deliver at the level of what they need to get the job done, to get the results they need. So I kind of know the answer, but I still want to ask you and get your full answer. But in such a competitive industry where we have so many real estate agents with such a low barrier to entry, what gives you your competitive edge or advantage? What makes you so successful?
Well, I really think, kindness is really important, not only to that commitment to your buyers and sellers, but to my colleagues and the people in the industry. I think it is so important. I respect everybody. Agents work really, really hard. I get that and I understand it. And I think, when you're putting a deal together and I'm representing a seller, for instance, and they're representing a buyer, that there's no reason to get, become difficult. We're all trying to get to this, to have the same result. And I think it's really important that everybody just works together. And I try really hard to do that.
Well, in our business, we all want the same thing. And while our fiduciary responsibility and our affection, our love, and everything else goes to our clients, we will see the real estate agents in our industry over and over and over. And having that relationship with them is important, and also is to our clients' advantage to have that as a positive relationship, which I'm going to do it, Isaac. Chris Voss, there I went. But a lot of that kindness, it's called tactical empathy, where you talk to people in ways that you're empathizing and putting yourself in their shoes, because before you do that, you can't get anywhere. And keeping people in a positive frame of mind. But that's like, I love that. It's so beautiful. Do you have an example or a story of where, and you probably have lots of them, where applying kindness to a client or a deal or anything really not only reaped a great experience, but reaped those results that we all are, in this industry to get for our clients?
Well, I work a lot with Autism Speaks, and I'm an ambassador for Montgomery County, in the county that I live in. Mm-hmm. It's really special to me understanding, I had a family who had a child on the spectrum, and there were certain requirements that the household needed, for him, and just to relate and understand, I think was so wonderful and impactful. And I think one of my best experiences was working with that family and getting to know them and seeing their child happy in their new environment, because that's change is hard.
That's amazing. What do you think? Well, I'm going to talk to you about your successes and your failures, but I want to start with your success. What success are you most proud of in your business?
The success that I'm most proud of in my business, I think, is really having the courage twice. Once to go out on my own and leave the security of a powerful team, so to speak. And so going out on my own was really important. And then in this past November, starting all over at the age of 57, I'm now 58, but starting at 57 and just going with the new company and moving forward and seeing all the possibilities and everything that's out there for my buyers and sellers. And I just wanted to, be on the curb of that. So those are my two best things, are just having the courage to make a change. Having
the courage to go out on your own, and then having the courage to change from, I think you were with the same company for 25 years.
Yeah.
And then you came to Compass. Was it been a few months ago?
November. So yes, wow. 5 months ago.
So just a few months ago. What is I love this question because it's really the failures that make our successes. Like Tony Robbins always says, your biggest problem is you think you shouldn't have any. But what is your biggest mistake or failure, and how did that become, either what did you learn from it, or how did you turn that into a success?
Okay, what do you think? My biggest failure.
And that's I'm not sure I like the way I asked that. What's your biggest challenge in the business, or your biggest lesson that you've learned, or your biggest aha, that kind of thing?
I mean, I think the biggest lesson, and I know this, and I teach my children this, you can't change people. I can't change how people will react or even treat me. If I'm working with somebody who is not nice or condescending, and I just continue to, be myself and smile and do everything that I can to accommodate them.
Right.
That's all you can do. You just do the best you can do. You're not going to please the world. I think that's the biggest thing that I've had to learn, is not taking things personally and understanding sometimes it's the other person.
Exactly. I love that you just said you can't please everybody, and it's not the end of the world. And not that you don't have empathy, not that you don't care, but that at some point you've got, again, so much of what you're saying, believe it or not, guys, you've got this hardcore FBI negotiator, international lead negotiator who wrote Never Split the Difference, who everybody's read 1,000 times. We're talking about kindness, and I'm aligning the two because they're so, kind of ironically might be the right word, relevant to one another, and how he applies the same thing to get amazing things out of negotiating with people who are terrorists or hostage holders and want to kill you or take your money, or both. So, but again, it really applies to that for all of those of you who haven't read it, and I'm sure you've heard me recommend it quite a few times. What is your biggest source of business, and how do you best win your business?
So my biggest source of business is referrals. I've been in the business long enough. I mean, when I started, it was all on my own. So I didn't grow up here, and there's and my husband is not with a big corporation. So there wasn't the referral base that some people would have, for instance. So everything that I did was through open houses and networking, and, my neighborhood, being very present, from PTA president to my sisterhood, being president of that, being involved in the community. I'm very community oriented. I think that as a realtor, you need to be, and it has to come from within, but I genuinely care about everything in my community.
I love that. How do you, because we keep going back to kindness, and yet you're this powerhouse agent, and most people don't think, oh, be kind and then rock it. How do you, obviously that's your strength, but I'm sure you've had situations where you've had, when you're negotiating a real estate deal, we're not baking cookies all the time negotiating deals. You gotta have some grit in this business. Right. How do you keep your strength of being so kind and hold true to that, knowing where the boundaries are and knowing how to still harness things and get them done?
Well, I think that anybody that knows me, my buyers, my sellers, and people that have been referred to me that I work with, know that, look, I am it's a no nonsense, like this is how it is, and I can support what I'm saying when I'm negotiating. This is why you need to take this deal. Right. This is what works, and people are either going to understand that or not. And I think that my knowledge and an experience, there's a trust level, of course, that people they get it. They know what I'm saying.
Exactly. Well, and that kindness establishes trust, which establishes the correct boundaries of not force, but like Power versus Force, David Hawkins. It's a little bit out there, everybody, but great book, because it's to what you're saying about, not leveraging is the wrong word, but when you have the trust and the authenticity and everything we're talking about, that is where you reap the best results. Right. What is the one thing that you wish you knew when you got into this business that you know now?
Let me think. So, I don't know. I think the one thing that I wish I knew now is oh God, that's a difficult question for me.
Good.
I don't know. I'd say not realizing the positive impact that, I really had on.
That's mine. Yeah.
On people, this is a huge part of their lives, buying and selling a home, and it's so emotional, and it is important for the realtor to understand and to be there for their clients, and I think that I used to think, well, what I was doing was not life-saving. And, fast forward to now, I really think that, what I do makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. It's your home. It's the foundation of your everyday. It's where you make memories. It's where you live your life, or the foundation of where your life is. And the foundation is the most important thing of everything we do, and in everything we do.
Right.
I love that. That's mine. It really is. I almost quit this business because I felt like it was all about the numbers and the deals and the whatever. And I was just like, this is so unfulfilling. And that's kind of when I got to that place, is when I backed up and I was like, wait, I am helping people. I'm not, what would have happened if I hadn't been in this deal and hadn't read Never Split the Difference? Just kidding. I'm really bad today. But it's ironic how so much of what you say is indirectly and indirectly relevant to that book, that is from kind of somebody that you see, everybody sees in an opposite way. Where do you find most of your support? Is it from people? Is it from processes? Is it from both? Is it from, and is there a person that you consider your biggest mentor and example in your business that you follow or inspired by?
I have to say my husband is my biggest supporter, and my children have been incredible and supportive. My parents, my sisters, my friends, like everybody gets what I do and understands it. And I'm very lucky. I really am. I have a really unbelievable husband.
I love that. That's all. Well, I feel everybody calls my husband the rock in my roll because he's grounded and I'm shiny object syndrome. So I love that. That's great. What is, if there is one mentor in your world that has inspired you to be who you are and get where you are, who is that? And is there one?
Well, it's changed over the years because I had mentors along the way. I have a sister, her name is Lori Silverman, and she's the reason I got into this business. And she taught me everything from the very beginning. And she is just a really strong person. She's a domestic violence survivor.
Wow.
She inspires me every single day of my life.
Wow, that's incredible. And do y'all work together now, or?
We do work together. We do work together, and she's on my team, and she's just a.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. No, that's.
She's a sunshine.
It's awesome. Yeah. So, what is that like? There may be some listeners who, because you've got this family business. What is it like having family members on the business, and then teams of members of the team who have family members? Are there ever? Obviously, there's probably like, great things that come of that and challenges that come of that. What are those, and how do you get through them?
Well, the challenges are, we do have to separate. My son calls me Margie at work, which is crazy to me. And I am his mother, and it's hard to sometimes separate, but we do it. When he says, Ma, this you should have done it this way, or you need to do it next time that way. I listen, and I value everything he has to say, and same with my sister and everyone on my team. I mean, Ashley, who runs our office, is like a daughter to me. She's been with me for 5 years, and everything that she says sticks with me. I think it's important to listen to everyone, and it's helpful to get us, and I think that we're all a family here, and I think everybody knows it. It's not just because my sister is my sister and my son is my son. We're all in this together. So this is our second family.
I feel the same. Nobody in my family's family, but I feel the same way. Like your team is like, and that's what I love about having a team. Is having the camaraderie, the support, we did a quote on social media recently because it came from Bridget on our team that said, we're, with something like a strong team or a well-rounded team isn't strong because every member is well-rounded, but because it's basically just the opposite. Sorry, y'all, the quote, I didn't do the quote well, but it's basically like you're taking the strengths of everybody and putting them together on a team, and that's what makes the strong team. Because with your weaknesses become strengths. Your weaknesses, whatever you think your weakness is always your strength. And bringing those strengths together so that they're no longer really weaknesses that are focused on it. It's focusing on all of our strengths and bring them together to support one another.
Right. And everybody on this team has a really important role. And even on my last team, everybody had an important role. So I'm really blessed.
I love that. Okay, so I always do the final three.
Okay.
Final three. Number one, what have you found is the most, and this does not include the phone or your car or anything like that, but the most powerful tool in your business?
The most powerful tool.
And that could be a CRM. I always say CRM because it so often is, but it could be a CRM. Is there an app? Is there, Grasshopper is one that is really powerful for my team because we have one phone line that we use on Grasshopper, so it goes to everybody's phones, but we can all see the text and we can all establish who gets what calls when. What would yours be?
Well, I don't know if this is the right answer.
There's no wrong answers.
I would say Ashley is the powerful.
That's a great, yeah.
Ashley is the center, is the heartbeat of this team.
That's Courtney on our team. Courtney is our director of operations. And Courtney, I tell her all the time, I'm like, you are the glue of our team. You're the one that holds us all together. And having that person in place.
Yes. And she does it with a smile.
How did you know when it was time to have an Ashley and have Ashley? And how did you find her?
You're not my son, Harrison, and Ashley worked together before they both started working with me. And he just said, Ma, you have to hire this woman. She's unbelievable. She was his manager. They were in sales. It's a long story. But anyway, and
That's incredible.
Okay. And I met with her, and I just knew that was the leap I needed to take to get somebody really good. And it's made such a difference in my business. I owe her a lot.
Wow. What is, and it makes the biggest difference. If there's one, so if there's one book that you would recommend that we read that has impacted your life and would impact ours, what would it be?
It would be The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom.
Wow. So I read that, but is it 15 years? What is your biggest takeaway or your favorite thing about that book?
It's not a book about sales. It's a book about, to me, people that you meet on every single day. So and I try to do this, whether I'm in the grocery store or at Nordstrom's or walking in a museum, it's just taking time and talking to people and getting to know total strangers. And part of that book spills over into what I do, because I'm meeting with strangers, that I was with a family from Germany that were in my car for a week, and getting to know people. And on some level, everybody that I work with, whether it's a buyer or a seller, influences me or has an impact on me in some way.
So true.
So that's why I connect to that book so much.
So true. So final question. If there is one thing, if we couldn't remember anything except one thing from this interview, what would you hope that one thing would be that we would take away?
The book you were telling me about, your friend, Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference. It's supposed to be like kindness. That was my advice. What's yours? But that would be mine too, obviously.
My advice is, just, I don't know, don't give up. Like I look at these agents, young agents that I talk to or new agents, and they say, how can I do it? How did you do it? And, I think that anybody can do it. You don't have to have roots in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
You can move from anywhere in the country and become successful if you are hardworking, if you have a good work ethic and you're kind and nice and you don't give up, because it works. I did it.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you.